fall in love.
Let's get to it.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing today?
Hello, we were looking at memes.
Just a couple memes. Just a few quick little memes to start our evening.
Okay, what's up? What's up with you?
Nothing.
These are really contrasting.
What is?
The chain and then like the.
Oh, yeah. I made this. So this is just like regular beads, and then there's a little pineapple
Squishy.
charm. It's just made out of plastic.
Does it smell?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yes. So it's just fun. Like, I don't know. I just wanted something different. I wear all silver. I kind of wanted to get into gold, but I don't know if it'd work with my skin tone all that well. So
Maybe this is kind of like closer to gold.
yeah, it's like a creamy.
Yeah. You look good inside this fan.
Oh, thank you.
Oh! So what's up? What's on your mind, brother?
Well, I was thinking maybe that we could talk about the passions.
About what?
Passions. Passions.
Oh, okay.
And basically, what I thought we could do is talk about being in. We're both kind of in the creator space. You more traditional with like art and music. Me with just being a content creator, creating things in general.
Mm-hmm.
And then normally, what people, I think most creatives and creators kind of centered around a passion. So I thought, why don't we talk about passions? Yeah. Why don't we center this podcast session around passions?
Okay. And start from where?
Well, I thought we could define passion first. And just go from there.
Okay. What's passion?
Pathin.
Pathin.
I literally was about to say pathin. Pathin is basically. I'm kidding. Passion's basically it's like a strong enthusiasm or desire to do something. So that's basically what the dictionary was. I was like, oh, that's kind of lame.
Do something in regards to what?
An
Anything?
activity, like a hobby. I would say probably mostly activities of some
Okay.
kind. I thought that was kind of a bland passion. So I thought of like, okay, well, to me, a passion is something that fuels me, or like I'm driven to do the thing. I'm compelled to do this activity. It kind of like sets your soul on fire, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I thought a passion
Yeah,
would be.
I agree with that. And it's like makes you want to do it, you know? Like you
Mhm.
look forward to doing it. And one thing I find with passions with myself, it's like when I know it's a passion is when I lose track of time. I've been here for hours. I haven't looked at my watch, and I look down. I'm like, damn.
I check in on you. I open the door. Mitch, you're like, you have like a beard, and you're like, caveman. What year is it? No, you know what's funny? I wrote down this. I had these bunch of questions that I wanted to answer in my notebook, and one of them was, it was regarding passions and monetizing them, which we'll get to later. But one of the questions was, list off the activities that you lose track of time when you're doing them.
And
So
it
it's
was
funny.
in
It's
a
funny.
subcategory of passion.
It was just a general thing, a general question, but it all relates to, okay, what
What'd
is
you
your
list?
passion? I forget. There's a couple of things like cheer, talking with friends.
I find it's easier to lose
fitness.
track of that kind of stuff when you're physically doing it.
Mhm,
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's interesting that you brought that up. So what are your passions?
Ooh. It depends. It changes. It changes quite
Really?
sometimes. Sometimes.
What do you mean changes?
Like I have a general idea of passions that I like to do, but it doesn't mean I'm sticking to that one passion the entire time. Whereas
Explain.
like music, this is obviously my passion. I like to create and work on my own individual work as well as working with artists. But also like I also do really enjoy cooking. But like something in regards to my passion for cooking isn't always like a structured one, you know? It's kind of like it comes and goes. Which like when I get into it, I'm like, yo, this is sick. I love it. Like let's recipes, new ingredients, let's farm, let's do all this crazy stuff, make sauces and make hot sauce. And then for the past couple months, I haven't been like doing that. I've been just like cooking for utility at this point. And like I'm slowly integrating back in. I got a new knife recently, so that's awesome. So I've been like using it obviously to cut my vegetables, and it's just like every time I'm using it, I'm like, this is sick. Let's get into this. But that's like it's a passion that varies and changes as I go. But there's definitely passions that stay. Like another passion I have is vinyls and collecting vinyls, but I haven't done that for a while because COVID, money, just interest really just comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely there's some passions that like to stay for sure, like music, playing piano.
That's dope.
How about you?
Mine would be the first two ones that immediately come to mind is fitness and cheerleading. Fitness, like I just think about all the time. I'm always like, I love to work out, be strong. Cheer is just like, I love the environment. I love the team. I love the sport. We'll get into those in a bit, but those are both very physical. I think things that are more maybe mentally stimulating or intellectual. Like I love having just like life talks with like you or the boys will kind of get together. It's like hours could pass by. This actually the podcast. Now that we talk about things that you
True.
lose track of time, it's
Point.
like, dude, it's been an hour. I feel like we could do this forever. You know?
Yeah. Even editing, I'm just like, whoa,
Mhm.
been doing this for so long. I can
Yeah.
keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
It's the only break because like I gotta eat, man. You know?
You're like you're like skin and bone. You're just like editing the podcast. No, same because I do the visual like video editing of the podcast and the social media currently, and then Mitch will do the what would you call it like
Audio.
audio like synchronizing mastering like
Yeah, audio mixing.
okay yeah when I'm editing I think it's so funny like I'll
Mhm.
send Mitch snaps of things and it's just I lose track of time but anyways definitely cheer and fitness have been the most like grounded. They're going to be here for a long time. Passions.
Yeah.
Podcast is very new, but
That's
it's
true.
fun.
There's definitely new passions that come in, like I was saying earlier. Like they're always weaving in and out, you know?
Hmm.
Recently I found this weird passion for soldering. It's such a random one, but it's so fun.
Do you just do it here in your basement?
Yeah, yeah, doing the table I do over there. Like I built one of I don't know if you can see this, but I built this piece here. And these cables we're using I built too.
What's that piece?
It's just a 500 series.
You have to bring it over a bit.
I'm not gonna bring it over. It's a 500 series outboard gear, so I can just like put the mic in it and like it adds not effects. Like it's one's a compressor and then one's a preamp, so like boosts the volume of what's going on. But it's fun. It's the same thing. Like when I picked up recently with school, and like we had a class where it's like introduced, and I just like fell in love with it, you know, and just get lost track of time all the time.
Hmm.
Like I was doing it the other day, and then I had to go out to Hamilton to meet with some of the guys, and it was just like I got so pushed back just because I was doing it. And I was like, okay, I need to finish this. Okay, I need to finish this part. I need to do this part. I was like, damn. By the time I was like done, I was like, fuck, I really fucked myself up on that one.
That's dope. Do you need like one of those welding masks,
No,
or is it is it like the needle thing that's like
the
it's
needle
like
thing.
very
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. But
Chill.
also, it is toxic, so I
Oh.
should open windows, but I haven't yet. I like the smell. It's pretty toxic, but not too bad.
Okay, so why don't we get into I feel like there are people who feel that they are passionless. Like they'll you know when you're on like Reddit or Google and someone will have a submitted question like, "Guys, help me. I'm like a 20-year-old male and I have no passion, I have no hobbies. I just wake up, go to work, eat, go to sleep." So for people like that who don't necessarily have a passion, what do you think are ways to find passions?
When we were talking about this topic and I was doing research on this topic, the one thing I found in some really nice articles was that like passions, they're already there, you know? Things that you like and things that you're passionate about are already there. They're already in your life and they're already like a part of your life. You just like haven't acknowledged them as a passion.
So like they're biologically ingrained, or
No,
it's
no,
like,
they're already in
or
your
it's
life.
like,
They're
oh,
already like
I like cook every day. I don't think about it.
yeah,
It's fun, but
like
I'm
I
not
like video.
addressing it as a
Yeah,
passion.
like I like video games or like biking. Those are passions, but you don't even acknowledge them as passions. You kind of like push them to the side, looking for this bigger passion that is the ultimate passion. Like maybe you want to be an astronaut, you know, like. But you want to be an astronaut when you're a kid and you grow up wanting to be an astronaut, but you're not making moves towards this idea of being an astronaut. Maybe you're like really into bikes as well, but you like want to be this astronaut, but you also are currently into bikes. You know, like that is your passion.
Hmm.
Like the passion's with you already, you know? Like this person that might be 20 years old with no hobbies or no and nothing to do but go to work and come home. There's things in his life that he's enjoying, but he isn't acknowledging as a passion.
So for someone who is that way, where it's like, oh, I don't recognize any of my passions that I'm doing, is there a way to actively search out, oh, what am I already passionate about?
I would say take a step back and like realize what you're doing in your day. Maybe start journaling about it and write down the things you're doing in your day and where you find the enjoyment in these things, you know?
You know what I just thought of? It could be as simple and subtle as a process of doing something. So like for example, when I wake up, I have a morning routine of like brushing my teeth. I'll floss as well in the morning. That's a new habit. I
You
can't
floss.
stop now. I can't
Oh,
stop.
dude, once you floss, you can't stop.
I know.
So good though.
That's
Yo, there's nights
great.
where like you don't floss and you're like, or you're
You're
out
like,
at a
"Ah,
friend- yeah, out
gross."
at a
Like,
friend's house. Yeah, you're
oh,
like, I need to floss.
and you know when you like floss and then you spit out the saliva that was in your mouth and it tastes like gross? That's been there the whole
This
time.
would be so random, but you have that stanky tooth?
No, not
You
the
don't have
one,
that stanky
not
tooth?
the one
Damn.
stank tooth.
Me and a couple of my homies were talking about it recently. It's always tight, and my sister too. Every time you floss, there's that one tooth that just like has something about it, you know? No, you'll get that. You'll find that one day.
One day. No, but like I'll wake up, brush my teeth.
You floss in the morning?
That's what I'm saying.
Before you eat? Or after
That's
you
what
eat?
I'm saying. Before I eat.
Why?
I can't stop now. I brush my
I
teeth.
go into Marc's
Here's
room.
the thing.
He's in there, beard full, skinny, just flossing his teeth.
I'm soldering floss.
Can't stop flossing.
I'm soldering my teeth.
It's 4 a.m.
No, so what I do is I wake up, brush my teeth before I rinse out my mouth while there's still toothpaste foam after brushing. I'll floss. Like
Yeah.
yeah. So then like hopefully some toothpaste can get in between my gums and stuff.
That's a cool thing. I was watching a video about 2 Chainz about how he's talking about how he always flosses. Like he can't stop flossing as well. But he was always saying, and me and Josh, one of my buddies from school, was always talking about how like this is such a important process in our flossing. It was floss before. You gotta get the stuff out. 2 Chainz was like, yo, you gotta get the stuff out before you brush your teeth.
That's what I'm saying.
But you
Well, I
floss
brush
after.
my teeth, floss, and then rinse out my mouth with all the excess foam. So like I'll brush my teeth. We're going in about brushing my teeth. Brush my teeth, a bunch of foam.
Yeah.
I'll spit that out so my mouth is dry, but I didn't rinse out with water yet.
Okay.
Once I spit all the foam out, my mouth is dry, but I'll floss. Then I will rinse out all the excess, like dried on foam and stuff,
Hmm.
and have a fresh mouth then.
Even at the nighttime?
I will do that at nighttime, but nighttime's different because I will floss first and then brush.
Yeah.
In the morning, I will brush
That
and
would
then
make
floss.
sense. Okay. In the morning, at night, it would make more sense to, because like, when you floss, you get it all out. But like when you brush again, you can get in those places that you just flossed out, you know? Versus if you like,
Yeah.
if you brush first and then floss after, there's still like the stuff in between the teeth.
Yeah, but in the morning, there's none. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
right.
Because you haven't eaten anything yet.
Anyways, I guess I'm passionate about flossing,
Apparently
which isn't even what I was going to
apparently
say.
we both are.
I was going to say my morning routine is brush
Sweating
teeth.
from that one. That was
I
an
know, it's
intense
warm.
topic.
I'm getting,
That's
I get heated.
good topic.
I'm getting heated. Brush teeth, floss, wash my face, sometimes exfoliate. I'll put on this like toner, which basically resets your face balance because washing it disrupts the balance.
Okay.
Then I'll put on this like hydration thing. Then I'll put on lotion, face lotion, moisturizer, and then I will put on sunscreen.
Okay.
So it's quite the process.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of realizing, as you said, things that you do in your everyday that you don't realize are passions. I think I would say self-care, but it's more specifically self-grooming. Just like in the morning of just having that, or maybe it's morning routines combined with self-grooming. That's like a passion of mine. I love getting up. I literally spend like not 30 minutes, but like 15 solid minutes of that entire process I just laid out. And I'm just like, yeah, this is like, I got to do it. It's part of my day. Like I enjoy it. I feel like it almost in a sense sets the tone for the day. Just like,
Like you said, you
bed.
wake up and you're like excited to floss, like it's just what it is. So I don't know. That could be a passion too,
Yeah.
The thing with finding passions that are not necessarily known as to be like great passions, like being an astronaut would be,
Yeah.
These passions, they have their subcategories, like you can dive deeper in these subcategories. For example, the biking thing. Say you like biking and you've always like, oh, I go for a bike ride like 3 times a week. There's so many subcategories. There's building bikes, there's fixing bikes, there's riding bikes, there's painting bikes, there's taking photos of bikes, there's
flossing bikes, soldering bikes. Or even like things that are associated with biking, like maybe just like being outside, seeing new areas of your subdivision, or just going to different places, discovering new areas.
Maybe you take a camera with you now, and now you have like another hobby that you're doing with your biking. For even an example with that is the soldering thing. It was because of the overarching umbrella of audio, my interest in audio and music gear, that like brought me to gear, and then brought me to building gear, and that brought me to soldering. And I'm like, whoa, cool. I found this like subdivision under this umbrella, branching down to this one topic that interests me.
So in about, years time, I expect an arc reactor to be powering your basement.
Come to the podcast with like this fucking thing that Iron Man has. What's it called?
Arc reactor.
Is that what it is? Oh.
I don't know if they actually exist, like in real life, or that was a made-up thing.
Oh, dude. I didn't even know. When you said arc reactor, I thought it was like you were talking about someone else.
No, that's Tony Stark.
Cool.
Yeah, that's dope. It's cool to almost introspectively reflect on like, well, what is it that I do every day that like, where am I finding the small joys? Is it my morning routine? Is it making breakfast, or just like presenting breakfast on a nice plate with like putting all the eggs different from the bacon and like making it look nice? Like there's so many subtle small ways that you could find joy. And I guess like, you're right. It's not I love to paint. I love to make music, sing. Like it's not like a very loud passion, a very obvious passion
to yourself,
but it could be something that
the only reason I related to music and that kind of like artistic passion is because I'm in that world and so are you, kind of thing. But there is so many other passions you can have that aren't in that world.
I wonder what the craziest, most obscure, weird passion is.
Just Google it.
Schgoogle?
Yeah, no, I said you should Google it. Schgoogle? What's Schgoogle?
Schgoogling is my passion. Anyways, it's kind of like that saying, if you want good things to happen, look for miracles. If you look for miracles, you'll find them. And it's almost like, okay, well, miracles are all around us. Passions are all around us. If you look for them, you'll find them. I like that.
And something with, you like to present your breakfast, you like to do your morning routine like you're talking about. There's so many avenues with that. You can do a B&B, like a morning specific B&B where you host a B&B just for like a morning sanctuary.
Bed and breakfast.
Yeah.
For some reason, I didn't clue in that you were saying B&B. Dude, I thought
Dude, a bed and breakfast is a good idea.
let's it's gonna be called Passion and Breakfast P&B
PNB,
peanut
nice.
butter. I thought the other day it'd be so fun to open a bed and breakfast.
See, that's what I'm saying. So it's like it aligns with your passions
You
of
could
things that you
you could like
actually enjoy.
be
You know,
hospitable. I love
it's like
hosting
a
things.
sanctuary. So it's like in the morning you'd have yoga, meditation, exercise, this routine, a nice breakfast, and then they go on their day. You know, like it's like B
Damn.
and B. But it's just like one avenue of this passion that you find. So you enjoy morning routines. What can you really what can you do with that? How can you expand that?
Yeah.
How can you dive deeper into that?
Cool.
I was doing research as well, and it was talking about like within passions, there's productivity and priority.
Productivity and priority
Yeah,
within your passions.
within passions. So
Okay.
it's like how much of a priority is this passion to you? You know, like where would you rank it on things that you really want to do in your life? Where it's for me, it's music would be the priority would be number one. You know, where it's like I'm watching videos on music all day long. I'm doing things that revolve around that all day. And it's just helping you self-center yourself in what these passions are. Like where does it lie on your scale of priorities?
Hmm.
This passion,
What was the other term?
productivity, but
Pro-
with priority. What was the first one I said? Priority.
priority and
Priority.
productivity.
It's like another thing to look at is like how do you feel about it when you're not like with it, you know? When you're sick of it. Where does it lie when you're like I don't want to be doing this right now? You know, because no matter what, you always feel that way. It's not all rainbows when you're doing your
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. They're like there are times when I don't want to work out.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's times when you
Exactly.
don't really
Yeah.
want to like
Make
edit
music.
music
So
or
it's
just
like
make music.
where does that passion lie when you're not in a dark spot, but it's like when you're not thinking about doing that passion at the time. Like can you bring it back the next day? Like are you still even though you're not creating the art, you're still watching videos on it. You're still practicing piano, for example, would be like the thing, you know? It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't want to bike today, but maybe I can put air in my tires. Maybe I can like what's the priority, you
Yeah.
know? Maybe I can floss
Yeah.
the tires and
Yeah. It's similar to what you're saying of there's many passions around a bigger passion, like the
hmm
biking with the tire. Maybe you love bike maintenance just as much as you love biking.
hmm
And that's a really interesting idea. Yeah, I never thought of it of I thought of it of priority because we'll get into that later of how passions will change over time. Never thought about productivity.
And I think productivity would be how much you can exhaust the topic of the passion to see what avenues you like.
Mm,
You know? That would be productivity.
yeah. I think also when you're not doing the activity itself, where does it lie? I think that it requires self-awareness and balance and knowing how to balance your passion because if I love working out and I work out every single day for like 7 hours, I'm going to hate it eventually. But me knowing myself and knowing about the underlying mechanisms of fitness, it's like, well, you can't do that. You're going to burn yourself out. You're going to be destructive, deteriorating on your own body because you're going too hard. You need to have rest periods as well. And that's two sides of the same coin. Like breaking down working out is one side of the coin, rest is the other. You need both to, I guess, experience or do fitness. It's not all one sided. Maybe with music, it's I love to make music, but I also love to just sit down and appreciate
Yeah.
music. And then
Or
there's so many
practice.
different avenues
Yeah.
you could go down.
And that makes it not lose its value.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you like oversaturate it, you're gonna be sick of it sooner, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That leads into another topic I was thinking about was like tainting a passion, you know?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too.
Yeah, tainting a passion where it's like once like where do you lie when rules start coming into it? For example, if I was doing the soldering, like I like to do it on my own in my own time and do whatever I can kind of thing. But now if I have to work for 88 hours, I have to solder for people to be on a specific time. Like do I want to put these rules to this passion? Or do I want to leave it its own passion, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And leave it as like a side hobby kind of place where I can like meditate and relax, you know?
Mm-hmm. Just
Versus
enjoy soldering for the sake of enjoying it and doing it for yourself.
for myself versus not necessarily monetizing it, but like putting rules to it.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like I have to solder today or I have to make music today. And it's like if I don't, like shame on me.
You know what? I think this leads to the idea of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation to do something. Basically, if you take a basketball athlete and you say, just play basketball whenever you want, it's obviously your sport, you love it, go have fun, they will enjoy it, for as long as they live, let's just say. But not as soon as, but sometimes when you pay them to do the thing that they love, so if you start paying this basketball athlete, he turns pro, he goes amateur, whatever, the process of playing and training for it, they lose motivation and they lose the enjoyment of it because now their motivation to do the thing is monetary. It's not
hmm
just from within myself. I just love basketball. It's well, I need money, so I'm gonna start doing this for money. It just changes the way you see it and changes the way you experience it. And I found this with fitness because I love like talking about fitness and figuring out people's fitness problems and seeing if there's a way I can help like coach them in little ways. And then I became a personal trainer, and it was rewarding and I enjoyed it, but it kind of took away from just my love to just be in the industry of fitness, like, which is kind of counterintuitive or paradoxical or contradictory, but like you're right, it tainted my view of fitness and how I experienced it versus when I wasn't a personal trainer, it was just fun. It's just
Mhm,
when I wanted to
mhm.
do it to become stronger. There was no money involved. There was no like deadlines, like you were saying. There was no responsibility necessarily.
I was watching a Vice documentary on this skateboarder called Ben Ramers. That was his name, was Ben Ramers. I think his parents brought him to a skate park and he just like fell in love. Like this is what he wants to do. He wants to skateboard, and this is his passion. He dove into it as much as he could, you know. And then he's from the UK, I believe. So it was like people from the US were looking at him to like join our team and like come skate for our sponsorships and our endorsements kind of thing, you know. And then he was doing that, enjoying it, and then it started to break him down. The reason he got into skateboarding was because he didn't want to follow the rules, and he got to do this on his own, and he got to go where he wanted to go and like do the tricks he wanted to do and like have a place to escape. But then this place became tainted by monetizing it and having people being like, yo, you have to show up to this photo shoot, you have to show up to this video shoot, the team's meeting here. And he just like couldn't handle this kind of thing, and then he had to separate himself from the States and went back to the UK where he was like still wanting to skate, and a lot of his friends were like working 9 to 5s now because their passions didn't he wasn't able to like they weren't able to monetize skateboarding as much as he was. So he was just like trying to find ways to bring the passion and the spark back to what he was doing, and he couldn't handle it and he overdosed. Yeah.
Overdosed on the passion, the work of it.
Overdosed on drugs and
Oh shit. Oh, you mean oh, I
yeah,
thought you
yeah,
were
yeah.
like metaphorically
No, no,
speaking.
no,
He literally
like
overdosed.
overdose.
Oh
Yeah, yeah.
shit. That's
And
unfortunate.
there's like foundations for him now about like mental health within anything, you know, like
Hmm.
being able to open up and like talk to your friends, even though a lot of times guys don't open up. It's like more of open up if you're a guy, open up if you're a girl, open up if you're anything, just open up more and be more comfortable with opening up to people around you in life. But it's a good example of a tainted passion, like getting to somebody, you know, like
Hmm. This is a good segue to monetizing your passion and if people should. Do you think people should?
I don't know. It's tough because I think you should, because if that's where you find enjoyment, wouldn't you want to find enjoyment always? You know, how do you feel?
I think it's definitely worth a shot. I think for some people, it could be the best thing that's ever happened to them. They all of a sudden make money loving what they do. However, it does, like we've said before, it can taint your passion. I think it requires a lot of self awareness to know and to be wary of like, is this turning into something I don't like? If so, how can I circumvent that? How can I prevent that? How can I make it so that it works for me and whatever cause I'm fighting for, not against me? I think one way that people can kind of proactively monitor whether it's going to be too much for them, like the money side, and if it's going to taint it, is by assessing to yourself, like, okay, my passion is this activity. To what extent do I need to monetize it? Or to what extent do I need to do the activity to monetize it? Because if you love music and you do, it's like monetizing could be making music for other artists. It's like, okay, well now you're making music for artists 24/7. You don't have a break. It's like, okay, when am I gonna have time for myself? This sucks. So to what extent? Maybe you just make music for one artist or for like smaller artists or just, like to what
But
extent do you need to do your passion
that's
to
where
make
battles
money?
to how you gonna pay rent if you're doing one artist or you're only exhausting this passion 10%, 15%. Like you got to be able to monetize it entirely, you know?
I think, well, I mean, that's kind of inherent with any job and any passion. There's parts you don't like. I'm sure
True.
there's certain, like, probably not that many parts of music that you're not that fond of. There's parts of fitness that I'm not all that fond of. So, like, knowing that and knowing with any job, no job is perfect. There's going to be shit you don't want to do. You know that already going into
It's not
it.
all
You have
rainbows,
to
yeah.
kind of accept that and be ready to face what may happen. Granted, you can't foresee everything, so like it's hard, and sometimes you make a mistake. You got to backtrack or restart or just end it completely, whatever that monetization of your passion is.
That leads into one of the topics I want to talk about was like art versus commerce. It's like where does the line draw from creating the art you want to create versus not it doesn't have don't have to relate this only to art, but like doing the passion that you want to do versus being able to do it to make money. You know, like it's not selling out, but it's like you will have to morph your art creation passion to one specific topic, you know, where it's like if you're creating a bunch of different styles of music, you got bossa nova, you got Latin, you got jazz, you got hip hop, and all of a sudden hip hop's the one that blows up. Now you have to stay with hip hop, you know? and like these ones kind of disperse while you have to like push this one up to monetize it, you know? It's like where, and maybe that might not be the one you want to go with. You know, you want to keep the options vast, but you can't because now this is where the money's coming from.
It's like this is paying the bills. So like, what am I supposed to do if
Exactly.
this is my only income? I have to do it.
Complex between making the art you want to make versus what will help you pay rent.
I think it kind of goes back to the balancing that we touched on earlier, where it's like, okay, well, I know that I want to do this for money. So cool. I do my passion for money and I have to deal with the shit that I don't want to do. That's fine. But I'm going to keep a sliver or some portion of my passion that's only for me.
That's cool. Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
Or you would say within the same passion, you would rather have one subcategory of that passion to be private or a whole new passion.
either or.
I feel like what we're talking about now, I feel like a subcategory would keep it the best because then you're still having a private sector in this topic versus like, say I'm enjoying music and cooking is my like one passion that's private. It's like, that's nice, but also I should have something in the same field to make me like still have
You can
fire
still
for the
enjoy it.
topic.
Yeah, you would still
Yeah.
enjoy, it's not like the entire music side of you is just ruined now. Like, yeah, I think I agree with that. I think it's nice to have little parts to kind of keep that flame alive and like, oh yeah, this is why I love what I do. And maybe that'll even shed a little light on the stuff that you don't like to do. That's like, okay, oh right, this is why I like to do it, and this is just part of the gig. And like, at the end of the day, I am enjoying this, and it's putting food on the table. Like, I should be grateful, and it's hard to be grateful every day. But I think this little bit of perspective can just make it easier to get through the rough patches.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Back to monetizing and getting money from a topic or a passion. Jack White is an artist. I don't know if you know him. He was in the White Stripes.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
he's the guy in the White Stripes. He had a quote that said, art doesn't sell itself, it has to be sold.
right.
So you can create the art and have it as artistic and like true to yourself as you can get it. But at the end of the day, to make the money off of it, you have to sell it, go out and sell it, you know?
So is he saying it is your choice to sell or not sell?
Is that what you feel he's saying by that quote?
Art does not sell itself; it has to be sold. In this context, yeah, that's what it says to me. It's like you're right. Art doesn't sell itself. You can keep it locked away as your own private little thing. Like, this is what I do. This is my enjoyment. No one really needs to see this but me. But you're right. It's, if you want to make money, it's not going to sell itself. So if you want to sell it, you got to put in the work. You have to deal with the shit. You have to hustle.
Yeah.
To make it work.
And find what is making the money and I guess work with that, you know?
One thing I was going to add on, this is backtracking a lot, is like helping people find their passion. We talked about.
Ooh, okay. I have another topic to talk about.
Okay, okay.
Good you backtrack.
Okay.
Nice.
So you mentioned looking at the things you're already doing and finding there. One thing that I think helps a lot is meeting new people, because we work in the restaurant industry. I remember when I first walked into my first Toronto restaurant that I worked in, and I met all these different people. There was like 50 new people I met in one day. I was like, whoa, so many friends. It was awesome. And then over the next few months, I started to get to know them and talk to them. And I was like, oh shit, like you're an actor and you're working? Like, that's crazy. I never thought about being an actor. Like, oh damn, you're a singer and like you're working here. Like, and it's just all these people. And generally restaurant is where artists go to
industry
people, yeah, go to work because it's flexible. So I was like, oh right, like I've never thought about being a singer or an actor or a clay sculptor.
I got so confused when you said that. I was like, okay.
Because some things you would just never come across or never think about until you see someone else talk about it with like their own fire and excitement about it. There's this quote or saying that says, 80% of the thoughts we think about in any given day are the same ones that we always think about. So how do you get new thoughts and therefore find new ideas and new passions, new activities to try, or ones that might spark your interest, is talk to different people.
For sure.
Specifically talk to people who are maybe have different views than you and do things very differently, because they think in a totally different way than you do. So that for me was like,
do you mean like outside of the same topic? They do things
same
differently?
topic, different topic, anything.
Yeah,
literally
that's a good way to find,
just meeting new people in general.
Yeah, that's a good way to find what else is offered.
Yeah, it's like you never know what's out there.
Yeah, someone else might be doing it.
Yeah,
or might have known something or like has some information on it. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt.
That as well, yeah.
But it just can open up a window, be like, oh, now I can research into, if I didn't know what soldering was, I can research into making my own gear, or I can research into making my own bike.
Okay, this is super, we'll get to your point in a second, but I'm wearing this belt. And
I was going to bring that up earlier.
No, wait, is that what you're going to bring up?
Not your belt, like your father making the belt.
So I was wearing this belt and I was like, yo, Mitch, look at my belt. He's like, oh, it's a nice belt. I was like, yeah, my dad made it. He goes, what? So then I basically told Mitch that my dad, he's like, how did your dad come across that? And it's like, my dad was talking to his brother-in-law, and his brother-in-law was wearing a nice belt. And my dad says, oh, like, it's a nice belt. Where'd you get it? He goes, oh, I made this belt. My dad's like, what?
Didn't even know you can do that.
And that's what I'm saying is like,
Yeah.
you just never know what's out there. Now, my dad makes belts and other leather goods like wallet holders and stuff like that. And they're like crazy colors. Mine's like a nice brown one. There's
So
like
nice. Stuff is
blue,
so
red,
nice.
green, black. They have all these, not bezels, but just like metal pieces, like little
Clamps?
stamped on
Okay.
things. Like, and you can stamp in the leather too. And like, it's so crazy. And my dad's just like having a blast. And this is something that he is monetizing. He sells them on Etsy. It's called
If you, yeah.
Hideworks.
HYDE and then WERKS.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll link it. But I asked him like, "Oh, Dad, would you ever want to do this full time?" He goes, I don't know. I kind of want to just do this in my basement on my off time and just watch TV while I do it." I was like, "Oh, damn!" Like in my, I guess I've been not brainwashed, but conditioned to immediately say, "You've got a passion. Let's figure out how to monetize it."
Yeah.
And then only within the last
True.
couple years have I said, "Time out. Let's based off of what I've learned with fitness and monetizing that and how that made me kind of skewed my view of fitness in general. Let's slow down. Like not everything has to be monetized. Some people
He
do
is slightly monetizing it, but at his own rate.
exactly at his own rate in the only way he wants to,
Versus like
his own
if
pace.
it got super super big, now he's working on packaging and shipping and
Yeah.
doing all these other things that he might not be interested
Like
in.
he doesn't care. He just wants to make
Just make the
belts,
belts,
make
sell it
cool
to his
shit.
friends, get a quick buck. That's it.
That's funny that like
I was
we're having
literally
this talk
gonna
now.
bring that up. Yeah,
No
I
way.
was literally an hour ago. We talked about that.
Yeah.
But this also goes to Josh's girlfriend Courtney. She does pottery. She does it, and all of her friends and all of us are just like, "Yo, start selling your stuff." And she's like, "Ah, I'm okay." She always gives it away because I brought it up on this podcast before. She just gives it away because she has just too many of it. And she's like, "I don't know where to put it." I'm like, "Yo, if you're gonna give it away, like, try and sell it." And like, all of us were saying it, and now she's like, I don't want to. But now
Yeah.
she's starting to sell a bit more because like she knows that it has value to it, and people were like, "I want to buy it off you. Like, I don't want it for free. Like, let me buy it off you."
You know what? And again, this is me just like projecting my monetize it. An easy way to monetize it without worrying about packaging, worrying about like customer orders and shit like that is just Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, for
Because it's
sure.
just, hey, meet me at this park.
I'll-
I'm just gonna give it to you. Give
yeah.
me $20, like e-transfer, whatever. It's harder to scale, but if she's not looking to scale and she
And
just loves
yeah,
it,
and as of
then
now, she doesn't want it to be like the number one thing she's doing and like putting all of her eggs in this basket and like doing this. She has her job that she works 9 to 5 or whatever, and she likes to do this on the weekends and make an extra buck.
I'm always impressed by people that are self-aware enough to say, I don't need to make this passion the end all be all. Like
Yeah,
I like it for myself because I had to learn the hard way. And maybe
I feel like
maybe
we're still doing
maybe
it.
she did too, and my dad learned the hard way as well.
True.
But it's just like, oh damn, like I don't even think about not monetizing or not making it everything. Like for me, it's 100%, it's all or nothing. And it's hard for me to take a step back and not get excited and just be like, oh wait, why don't I just chill? Like why don't we just take this slow?
This
It's
brings
hard.
it back to the priority. Like, how much of a priority is it to you that this is in your life and its value in your life? You know?
So would you say for someone like Courtney who just enjoys it and makes it and doesn't necessarily want to sell it, but she's starting to, would you say it's low priority then? Or is it high priority because she's prioritizing it as it being her passion?
It's a
For-
good question, but it's not like the number one, like you said, like dive all in, end all be all. This is like we need to monetize this to the extent as it can be monetized. You know? I'd say it's high priority in her personal life. Yeah,
So yeah,
but
personally to
not in
her,
her
it's
career
like
life.
this is just I'm gonna prioritize this as it's just for me.
Yeah. There's this quote I saw from when I was reading some articles about passions about from Marc Manson. It's about how you find your passion, right? The quote says, "A child does not walk onto the playground and say to herself, 'How do I find fun?' She just goes and finds fun," right?
That's
Yeah.
sick.
If you have to look for what you enjoy in life, then you're not going to enjoy anything.
So this kind of goes against what we're saying. So
This
it's
goes
almost
to what I was saying about how passions are in your life already.
yes.
Because she's going to the park and just doing what she likes to do. She already knows what she likes to do.
And I think you're right also in the sense that if I were to go to my restaurant jobs and talk to my friends and ask them about their passions with the intent of I need to find something, you probably won't find it. It's probably going to happen because you finish a shift and you sit down at the bar and you talk to your bartender and you're like, "Oh, what are you doing this weekend?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to go surfing." You're like, "Oh, I didn't even think that was a thing." Like, you always find the things when you're not looking for them.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those situations.
Yeah, rather than like, I have to find a way to find this passion or monetize a passion. That's not your passion, you know?
I had nothing to say.
Yeah, it's just like cricket.
Okay, why don't we talk about why, like, how and why passions change over time?
Okay.
So
So
like
you agree that passions change over
I
time?
think they do.
Hmm.
So I think there's two examples. We'll start with the first one. The first example is that a single passion of yours can change over time. So the bike example is very easy where age 0 to 10, I love biking. It's so much fun. I just want to bike everywhere. Age 10 to 20, it's like, oh, I'm getting older now. I have school. I have like responsibilities and other priorities now. I have a girlfriend. I can't bike all that often. But I really like bike maintenance. And then eventually you start fixing bikes. And you're like, oh, this could use a paint job. Age 20 to 30, now you're into painting bikes. I think your overarching passion can remain there, but I think that
You get more specific.
because life will throw things at you, it's like I can't bike every day like I did when I was 10. Like I still enjoy maintaining
True.
and fixing and now painting. Like I think that it'll naturally change. And that biking, the love for biking itself will never go away necessarily, but it's just like
Finding other
let's
ways to love it.
other ways to love it, opening up new avenues for enjoyment in the realm of your passion.
An interesting topic on this. I think I've brought it up before, but my sister lives in Portugal, and she just like does these jobs that are just like so different from each other, but she dives so deep into these jobs where it's like one month she was working on a fishing boat, helping catch octopus to eat.
Octopus?
Yeah, like little squiddy
Yeah,
guys.
octopus, octopus. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and then
Do you know how she did it? Like with a hook or like
with
a
a cage,
net?
like
Oh,
a cage.
damn.
Yeah,
What do you
and
put in
then
there?
what?
Sorry, I'm going way too hard.
I don't know anything about it really. All I know is that's what she did. What was the question?
I asked, what do you put in the cage to lure them in?
Other octopuses.
A fake, like a plushie, like a toy.
Little toy squeezy guy.
Okay, sorry, go on, go on.
And then the next month after that, she was a midwife and
What's
like
a midwife?
helps deliver babies. So it's like they're not even similar at all, like nowhere close. So she was
Yeah,
doing
you like hold the octopus plushie, and then the baby's like,
the
"Oh, I
baby
want
comes
it!"
out.
Into a cage on a boat.
So
You're soldering cages on the boat with your sister.
more cages,
I'm
more cages.
flossing.
We got more babies.
Come on, Mitch, come on, get that argument. Oh, I just smacked the mic.
All good.
Oh man, sorry.
What?
So she became a midwife.
Okay,
So she went
became
from
a midwife, and then she
octopus
started
hunter to midwife to baby
to
birther.
baby birther, and then she would photograph the baby birthers, and then would like offer them the mothers and families photos of their process of having a baby.
No way.
Yeah, and
Did
then
well, I guess clearly they must have
yeah, she
wanted
did
it.
well, and she was like a passion. She like dove into it. She's like, this is how research bunch of shit, figured out how to catch an octopus, and the next month she figured out how to birth a baby, and now she's on a food truck working and selling falafel and making falafel. So just like weird, not weird, but they're just like different. And she
Totally
would like
different.
dive in, she like learned so many skills at this one place. Maybe she liked some of these skills, maybe she didn't. Okay, that's cool. I know that now. I'm going to midwife and then maybe learn some things there. And then I'm gonna falafel. And now she might go back and be like, I like the cages.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll catch some crabs now. Maybe I'll build cages and solder cages,
Mm.
But you never know like where this goes. She's expanding her world of options.
I guess in a related sense, because you could say that these are kind of she's passionate about these things or they've become her passions, but they're also career things. I think there were stories, I don't remember who said it, but they're like, I know this guy who is a firefighter for 2 years, then he became a house painter, and then he became a food truck, whatever, and he's the happiest guy ever.
For
But
sure.
from the outside, you're like, oh, this guy can't like decide and just settle down. He must have a hectic life. Maybe it's hectic, but maybe that's where he finds his happiness, whether it's in trying a bunch of things or he's on a path and enjoying what is the one thing that I want to do for a
And like
long, long time.
learning about all these different things at their own pace. And it's not like, say I'm painting houses and then I'm like, I've done it 1,000 times now. I've been doing it for 10 years.
Hmm.
Like, who's to say that might not be like more mundane and not as complex as learning as you go kind of thing, Where like my sister's learning all these fishing things so fast and then she's like, all this knowledge. And then she like might be like, okay, I can catch an octopus every time now. You're like, I'm in the water, cage, up, baby, out, like
Falafel made.
And then maybe she just like was a passion. She loved it. She expanded it, explored it, exhausted it, and now she's onto something new,
That's super dope. I think that's very admirable.
Falafels?
Falafels, baby birthing, octopus hunting, because in a world that's constantly trying to change,
And
but
bring you
also kind
down.
of like conform you, it's hard to be yourself and to not fight against it, but it's like, I know that the world wants me to work a 9 to 5 job. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. Screw the judgment of others. For example, I worry about disappointing my parents, as I'm sure a lot of people could relate to. And also, my self-image, like how do people see me? There's things, and you're right, they're not that big, but they're big enough where it's like, okay, I have to address this in some way. And I'm not saying that your sister has a bad image or is disappointing your parents or anything, but like you could argue that a lot of parents are like, just get the safe job, just be happy, just be safe,
Oh,
like
she's definitely been
don't
through
hustle.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dude, it's very admirable to
Step out.
step out and to just be like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Family, love me or not, like this is me. I have to do this for me. If you love me, like let me do it. If you don't, like I don't I don't know where I was going with that, but it's very admirable.
If you love me, let me go.
If you love me, let me go. Is that a song?
Definitely, but I
Must
don't think
be.
it's that song.
Sounds like Brendan Urie. What's that? Panic at the Disco?
Okay.
Sounds like his voice. If you love me, whatever. Anyways,
Beep borp.
beep
Reset.
borp, bing bong.
Bing bong cookies.
Another way that passions change over time is like just attaining new passions. So like fitness was my passion for however many years. Then came along cheer. Then came along podcasting. And then what happens to fitness? Does that take a back seat? Do you do less of it? Like how does that change? I think over time though, just being exposed to new ideas and new people and new experiences, you just kind of tack on bits of passions from here and there.
I think like being able to understand that this might not be the passion anymore opens up the door to where you're meant to be, for that time.
Yeah, kind of like this phase of your life was meant to be for music, and the next phase is meant to be for cooking. And yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to look. Don't be afraid to look.
But also, don't look because when you're looking, you're not going to find it.
I meant like don't be
I
afraid
know,
to
I'm
look
kidding. I'm
within
kidding.
yourself,
I'm
like further.
kidding. Okay, so the last thing we should touch on is, are passions meant to last forever? Do you think they do? Are supposed to last forever?
Let me think about this. I don't know.
Okay,
Who am I to say? The passions are meant to last forever. What if some person there does passion does last forever? One person doesn't, I'm not to say what everyone can feel.
very wise of you to say.
Freestyled it. Your turn.
Mine is yes.
Passions are meant to
Yeah,
last forever.
I think that the passion itself, unless you taint it and like it gets ruined by monetizing, that's different. But if you can keep a passion enjoyable, I think it will last forever. I think over time, it'll vary in the degree to which you do that passion or that activity. I also think that your passion can change and transform, just like how you love to bike.
Just like how it can change and transform in a car and just
Oh, Optimus Prime. So my example was that I like basketball, right? I love it so much. I play it all day for like the first, I don't know, 30 years of my life. And then eventually it's like I still love basketball as like the idea and the sport, but like I don't really want to play anymore. Maybe I don't have time to play. Maybe I don't have the athleticism I used to and I'm just falling out of it. But sometimes people who excel in sports will turn to coaching and
true.
teaching. So it's almost like I'm channeling this passion in a different way by teaching others and spreading and sharing how great that this passion is. And then it lives on through teaching. And I think, but you still love basketball. It's still there. It's just you went from playing to teaching, just like biking to fixing to painting. Like,
I think they can last forever. Doesn't mean they will and doesn't mean they're supposed to. They
true.
can, most definitely. Because there's always that one person that finds like their vocation, their calling there. This is like exactly where they're meant to be. And that's it. That's where they're meant to be and they know exactly what's going on.
I agree with you.
But there's some other people like a child actor that might be really into acting when they're younger and then have a film and then be like, I'm done.
I agree with you. I think the way that I would rephrase what I was saying was that passions last forever in the sense that the idea of the passion lasts forever. As long as it doesn't get
Mm.
tainted, like you were saying with this child actor, it's like, okay, I'm a child actor. At age 10, I did 5 movies. I'm like pretty over this. But I think if you were to reach out to them at like age 30 or 50, it's like you'd probably still enjoy
Watching a film
acting,
and really
watching a
digging
film, or
deep in
like,
it, yeah.
yeah, it just you maybe you end the activity, but the idea, the concept, like what it means to you, I think will always be there.
Yeah, that was really good.
Thank you. I was channeling my Mufasa and Simba moment where he's like, what does he say? What does he say? Like, be who you want to be, know who you are. Be who you want to be.
Be who you
You know
want
when
to
he's in
be.
the big cloud and he's like, know who you are, Simba.
Remember.
Because Simba's like, what do I do? Simba's like, you gotta do this. And he basically was like, be like, what do you say? Know who you are? Something like that.
Should I find it?
Probably.
Okay.
You know what's funny? The
Meme?
the quote that's coming up is from the Amanda Bynes show. Now you know your stars. Did you ever watch that?
Never.
Okay, basically it's like a person, they did skits, kind of like Mad TV. So one of the actors would be like in this room and they'd be like, "Know your stars. Amanda Bynes loves eating roadkill." She'd be like, "What? No, I don't." And she'd like argue, and then he just would disregard it, and the voice would say, "And she loves to fart." Be like, "What are you talking about?" And then she would say something nice, be like, "Yeah, you're right," and then like hit him with something weird. And then be like, "Now you know your stars." And they'd be like, "Wait, what are you talking about? Like, the scene isn't over. Let me correct." And then it just like fades out to the next thing.
That's funny.
Thanks.
Wait, was that saying that one?
Remember who you are. Ah.
That doesn't align with anything we said.
What did I say? Like, no.
Know who you be who you are, or know who you are.
Remember who you are. Oh, that's so much more powerful. Damn it. Sorry, Mufasa.
Explain it.
Honestly, I don't remember the movie enough to remember the context. He was just like looking for direction, I think. Or like
Remember
how
who
to
you
make the
are.
right decision. And it's like, well, remember who you are, remember who your values are and what you stand for. I think that's kind of what Mufasa was saying.
Lion King number 1.
Lion King number 1.
Okay, that's cool.
Sweet. That was good. I kind of want to be an octopus hunter.
I kind of want to be a midwife. Cage catcher.
Midwife cage catch. Baby catching. Photographing, falafel flipping.
Build a cage where 2 baby octopus fight for the death.
For ownership of the baby.
Ownership of the falafel truck.
Falafel truck. Okay.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for
thanks
paying
listening.
attention.
Paying attention, yeah.
Catch you guys next time. Hopefully this helped you.
Good luck.
Good luck, guys. Bye.
Okay, see you later. Peace. That was lighter than the last one. The last two.
That was definitely our best one, I think.
Last two was so dark, bro. We were arguing and shit.
I know. That was definitely, I think, our best one.